warning: this non-politically correct show is made by men for men, while the hosts of this show strive to keep things clean. Occasional strong language and some topics might not be suited for all age groups. Parental discretion is advised.
Tonight's show is not brought to you by Phil, the guy in the studio next door, because all I had was some pocket lint.
Yes, welcome to Thumos Radio. Let's go ahead and get the show started with a little Like It or Strike It news. This is the part of the show where I read headlines from around the globe, and the guys here in the studio with me tell me whether or not they like it and want to hear more about it, or strike it, move on to the next one. If you guys strike all of the suggestions or all of the headlines that I have here tonight, I get to choose one. So let's go ahead and get started. Dale, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay.
Get that smirk in your face, so let's do it.
I think you're going to like these ones. This should be pretty good. The first headline is Talk About Wigging Out. Like it or strike it, guys?
Like it.
Like it.
Strike it.
Strike it. Mitch doesn't want any part of this one. Talk about wigging out. An alleged wig thief is accused of punching and biting a wig store owner whom chased after her when she bolted from his store. Police in New Haven, Connecticut told WFSB that Laupel Davis tried to steal a wig from Sassy Beauty Supply Shop when the owner, Jungyal Lee, and his 70-year-old father ran after her. Lee told police that Davis punched them both in their faces and bit Lee's arm so hard she tore off flesh, which she then spat in his face. The length of a full block. She just kept hitting me and smacking the back of my head, Lee told the news agency. So what do you guys think about that one?
Wow. Although I have to admire the pluck of the father of the shop owner. At 70 years of age, chasing off after a shoplifter. That's pretty gutsy.
Must be some high-dollar wigs.
Who needs a wig that bad? I can understand, if you got done with cancer treatments or something and you want to have your natural hair color. But, to just go and boost a wig and then to need it so bad that you bite someone's flesh off of their arm and spit it back in their face?
I guess plus 2 points for commitment.
Way to commit, soldier.
Follow through.
I like your style.
Yeah.
Mitch, do you have any thoughts on this?
Why? Why? That's my thought.
So you're going to stick with the whole opinion of we should have striked it.
Yeah.
We should have struck it. Okay, well, let's move on to the next one. Perhaps you'll like this one better. The next headline is Survival Tampons.
I'll bite.
What do you think, guys? Like it or strike it?
I say like it.
I'm going to say like it just out of sheer curiosity.
Works for me. Like it.
Okay. Guys, think of this next time you're forced to run to the store for a box of tampons for your partner. The feminine products could actually save your life. In fact, think of them as a tactile adventure medical preparedness outdoor necessity. Not so girly anymore, huh? In a post for The Art of Manliness, Creek Stewart enlightens readers on how to turn those Kotex and Tampax products into medical bandages, water filters, fishing bobbers, and more. Stewart, who is an instructor at the Willow Haven Outdoor School for Survival Preparedness and Bushcraft, acknowledges men might have a hard time buying into the idea of a Swiss Army survival tampon. But he stresses the sterile and well-packaged items are cheap, practical, and multifunctional, meaning it might not be a bad idea to keep a few stashed away with the old camping gear.
I have actually heard that before.
Have you?
Yes.
You've heard that before.
And
So you've used tampons before.
I haven't used them. I haven't had to, but
okay.
I've they work for nosebleeds. I've had a friend that had that.
Okay, knowing how big those things swell, I'm just trying to picture some dude. I'm already nasal during my allergy season here, but can you imagine something like that crammed in your nasal passage? I've got a swell idea with this nosebleed here.
Yeah.
Jimmy pops you in the nose. Blood spurts out. Hold on a second, guys. Time out. Let me reach into my pocket. Hey, what's that?
got some
Well, it's
Tampax.
my...
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, man.
If nothing else, I just love the phrase, the multi-purpose Swiss Army tampon.
Survival tamp.
There's a marketing slogan right there.
Yeah, that is.
You get a box together, put some camel on it. Take a picture of like the Swiss Army knife symbol and then change it a little bit. And yeah, you might get sued, but it'd be funny. Great gag gift.
Oh, I love it. I would love to be sitting there at a lake with a bunch of guys in a you're in your boat and you're fishing or something like that.
Open up your tackle box.
You open up your tackle box. Hey guys, I got the perfect bobber.
Yeah.
You lost your last plastic floater. Well, I got one here. Here you go. Try this.
Here you go, Steve, my imaginary friend. What do you think of my new bobber? Oh man. Okay, guys. Any last final thoughts on that? Anything you would like to put in there before I move on? No? Okay, let's do this. The next headline reads, Michelle Mathis wants $500 billion for a towed car in Ohio. Like it or strike it, boys. What do you say?
Strike it.
Strike it.
I guess it doesn't matter what I think then.
Well, that was the last one that I had for this episode, so I guess we'll just go ahead and move on to the next section of our show. We have a subject here that you folks might have heard about, you might not have heard about. I would like to take a little time this evening to talk about the men's rights movement. This is a group of men that are saying enough with feminism, enough with the feminazis. We're tired of women stomping on who we are as men, stomping on masculinity. We're angry that women stomped on the rotting carcass of chivalry and kicked it to the curb and, marched toward equal rights, burning bras all along the way. I would like to see what you guys have to say about this subject. What are your experiences with feminism? What do you have to say? Go for it. Dale, why don't you go first?
Just kind of thinking back to growing up and trying to be chivalrous towards ladies and how it was usually burned and scorned and attacked by probably at least 8 out of 10 ladies.
So you would say, so there have been instances where you've held the door open and she...
Yeah, basic courtesies like that. Hold the door.
Pull the chair back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something along
Fetch
those
something.
lines.
Go out and reach something that's on the top shelf or
Uh,
without being asked, just trying to be helpful.
I have been in those situations as well where I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to do it so that I can be recognized for it.
Sure.
I just happen to know that there is a feminine person who is walking towards a building. Perhaps she has a toddler in her arm and the other arm has a bag of groceries. I don't know, something. And I just, let me help you with the door. And I've been met with statements like, that's demeaning, you shouldn't do that. I had one lady threaten to call the cops on me because
Wow.
I was being verbally abusive and letting her know that she was a woman and I was trying to help and be respectful. It didn't work out well for me in my past. Mitch, how about you? What kind of stories can you tell us about your experiences with feminism and trying to act chivalrous?
I've just had the same thing happen where people misconstrued it, or just the fact that when you try to do it anymore, they don't really, I don't know how to put it, it's just...
They don't really know how to take it?
Yeah, they don't know how to take it.
They don't understand what's happening?
don't
Is that what you're saying?
Something like that, and also whereas they want to see, I know some girls, they want to see some of it, but they don't want to, but after a while they get tired of it, I guess, that sort of thing.
There's a lot of picking and choosing.
Yeah.
And they get to decide when it's appropriate, when it's not, and it's this big secret. And you're always in trouble because you're not on the same page at that moment.
I'd like to get more into that, when it's good and when it's not good. But first I'd like to hear from Brian, too. You're staying pretty quiet over there, Brian. What have you got to say about this subject?
Well, from my personal experience, there are some people that really get offended by it. I've noticed that it's very much a generational thing. Many times I've been out and about at a store or whatever, and I've held the door for an older lady, and she's been very appreciative, very thankful, where typically it's more of a middle-aged and younger category that get very offended by it. But the other thing I've noticed is sometimes women will have the opposite effect, where once they get used to a little bit of chivalry from a man, they begin expecting it at all times for any particular reason. And then when they don't get it, they can have the same type of angry response of, how dare you not do this for a change? So I just find it quite interesting how there's very much a yo-yo effect with different people on the subject, different ages, as well as some people are just so unpredictable that 1 minute they expect you to do everything, and then an hour later they expect you to not do anything for them, otherwise you're in trouble. So it's kind of a crapshoot sometimes, and no matter what, you end up getting your butt chewed.
What do you think drives this monster within that they're so confused within themselves that they can't deal with the idea of having a constant flow of a good thing in their life? What do you suppose that's all about? Why are they, oh, you can hold the door for me today, but tomorrow you better not?
I think the society at large, the women police themselves into trying to be carbon copy equals. Just because our anatomy is different doesn't mean that we're different. Everything equals, even across the board, the same. So by holding open a door or acknowledging, I'm going to be courteous to you, they immediately, the flags go up. This is an affront. You're saying that I'm different and I'm a woman and I need your help. And then the hackles get up and they get aggressive, defensive. But other times when they're tired or they don't want to deal with something and they want someone else to take responsibility for it, they look at you like, why aren't you taking care of this?
Yeah,
It's
you're
a
going
double
to
standard.
You're going to pick up a friend from the airport, and she stands there with her bag, staring at you like, "Hello,
You jerk! Open the door."
This is the perfect time for you to be chivalrous.
But if you'd
And
have
you're
done
just
it in advance of her looking at you, she probably would have attacked you just out of habit.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with what's going on in her day too.
Sure.
There's that, and that would happen to any of us. But I just I've had my own situations in the past where I've tried to be chivalrous, and there's a part of me that wants to say, fine, I'm going to be chivalrous to only two women in my life from now on, my mother and my wife. And there's a part of me that wants to say that, but still there's the obvious time when you're going to the store or you're going to some restaurant or something, and there's like this 300-year-old little lady walking in, her husband's been long gone, and you're like, man, I gotta hold the door for her.
Yeah.
Because she's gonna be like, oh, thank you, But I'm really interested, Mitch, to really see how you feel about all of this stuff going on with chivalry and girls not liking it so much anymore. It makes them the younger girls today, your generation, it makes them feel like they're subordinate to you, I guess.
I've actually not really noticed that so much with the girls my age. I see a lot of times they don't know how to respond to it because, oh, this guy's actually holding the door open for me and he's not just walking in front of me and ignoring me or something, or just out of habit. And I'm going to say this, I don't just hold doors open for women. I hold it open for anyone. If I see someone behind me, I'll grab the door for them. So, and that was just the way.
Needs a hand.
Yeah. Or even if they don't need a hand, I'll just hold the door open. That's the way I was taught.
Yep.
Grab it, hold the door for someone if they're going to come through the door and they're right behind you or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. I grew up in the country, and in the country I said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I hold the door. I go and get the car for my mom or my wife, which I don't get the car for my mom anymore. I'm all sorts of married and grown up, but I do get the car for my wife every now and then. But I guess it just is what it is at this point, one of the repercussions of feminism. I'd like to go back to what you had said earlier, Dale, about equal